A, this shit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. What's up, heathens? How ya doing? Tonight we're going to be going over a Jeranism video. First we have, and today I learned some very interesting sign language information that especially people from Ohio would like to know. Oh, yes, people from Ohio would love to know about this particular hand sign. It might implore them to either do it more or not do it at all.
You know what hand sign I always use?
The bird. Yeah.
Fucking traffic.
Christmas, yes, of course, I feel better. Earlier this week, I had a bout of the sinus infections and everything like that. I don't know if it's just because, like, that there's another dump of pollen or something, or it's just sinus season or what, but, yep, it fucked me over pretty good. There we go. Fucked me over pretty good, and so now we're here doing this, which I gotta focus. Yeah, okay. All right, so we have that, and then we have a few comments, but then also some flat earth memes that we can go over. So I hope that you guys are going to enjoy it. If you're watching on the replay, please leave me a comment down below with what you think about this flat earth nonsense. If you're in the live chat now, put that in there right now. What do you think about the flat earth nonsense? Do you think it should just be ignored? Should I stop doing Flat Earth Friday? Should I do some kind of other crazy ass thing Friday? Or do we just need to continuously go at all this anti-science shit? I would love to know. So, let's get on into the Today I Learned. Today I Learned.
Oh my God, that was bad.
It's even better when I do it like this because I'm sick. 0132132. I click the suitcase with the money sign. Does that mean I get 5005 now? Hooray! No, you gave me 5005. Thank you there, Zero. Anyways, today I learned that the University of Oregon, sorry, not Ohio. The fuck's wrong with me? That the University of Oregon's O hand sign is equivalent in American Sign Language to screaming, vagina! Vagina! Apparently that's the...
You don't... Not in all caps.
I thought that was kind of funny. I mean, you have all of these people from the University of Oregon apparently going around doing this, and it's just like, ha, vagina! How's it going, everybody?
Zero. Use that for beer money.
Oh, beer money. Well,
He better not...
yeah, well, what I am drinking tonight is Samuel Adams Summer Ale. So it's a craft beer. It's a little bit more mainstream of a craft beer, but it doesn't have that many carbs in it. So if you have good suggestions on like low carb kind of beers because I'm diabetic, let me know. At least it's not Bud Light. Yes. All right, so let's continue with this shit. We got a couple of actual comments before we get to some things, and I told Secular that I would read this for him because I placed number 1 on Fortnite Battle Royale, and I shared my screenshot because I did it with Thanos. He says, "What do you think you're doing, console peasant? PC Master Race is the only thing you should ever game on. If you use console, you're literally worse than Hitler and Stalin combined, you hillbilly fuck." Secular did go on to say that these are not the views of anybody on Secular's Twitter handle, so, yeah, he just wanted me to scream that shit. He spelled ever wrong too, but I figured it was just a misspelling. Like a mistype. This is a lovely person, and I'm so glad that he edited it. You goddamn roly-poly, saggy-baggy, elephant-looking motherfucker. No wonder you got round on the brain. If the like THA, the Earth not flat. How come a motherfucking plane done go straight out to motherfucking outer space when it fly? You'll so stupid. What? What the fuck did you edit?
And he didn't say Rolly.
Raleigh Polly. Raleigh Polly side. Yeah, I know that was really fun to read through though.
Please. This is a good one.
This is a pretty good comment. But yeah, so we don't like planes don't fly out into space because of gravity. You would need a whole lot more force to escape, the force of gravity. That's why spaceships, space shuttles have to have so much fuel to get them up and out of the atmosphere. So yeah. If that was at all in any way serious, I answered your question, I think. All right. So, how you like living on around Earth? Fuck you, bitch. Suck my peanut. Suck them real hard. Unhappy, confused face, I think. It's like one of those things where you're like confused, but you're also unhappy about it. All right, let's see. We got I think a couple more, and then we can do a couple memes. I like how this guy took the time to actually censor himself. Me though, I know what you're trying to say, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Who the fuck watches you? Oh my god. Why am I watching you? Oh my god. Why am I writing this comment? People believe in the globe more than any religion out there. Calm down, and the truth sooner or later shall hit you in the face. Now, I like this because, I mean, it's not wrong. More people do believe in a globe earth than any religion, because most religions believe in a globe earth, although there are certain sects of Islam that thinks that the earth is literally standing still. But also that goes directly against their religions, because all the current like major religions today started being written back around the time when the whole shape of the earth was kind of in flux. That's why you have in the Old Testament it validating a lot of the flat earth stuff. But even in Islam, I've got a list right now of a video that I'm working on where it's like 5 verses or five claims of the Quran that prove a flat earth. And so it's kind of odd. All right. We'll do one more comment. Well, actually, we'll go ahead and do a meme or two, and then we'll save some for the end. So here's a meme that I've run into. So that one's a lie. That one's the reality with everybody falling off of the globe. And then the truth is the dome, earth, and everything. Okay, so the main thing here though is that the one on the left is not a lie, but it is a lie that you got motherfuckers that tall. I don't know how tall you think people are, but they're not fucking Titan looking motherfucker. Like that's taller than like that giant fucking Titan on Assault. What is that fucking show called? Assault on Titan? Attack on Titan, not Assault on Titan. Hey, not Joe Witness. I'm earning this money watching and working. Ha ha ha. I'm glad you are there, not Joe. But yeah, so the reality one, I mean, people don't fall off the earth because of gravity, plus people aren't that fucking tall. So, I mean, this is one thing that the guy tonight, Jeranism, he doesn't get, because he literally thinks the one under the reality thing is what we think. But it's not. Yeah. Yeah, he is, isn't he? Okay, here's a funny one. 4 greatest lies ever told in human history. The spinning ball Earth, dinosaurs. What the fuck? Now goddamn dinosaurs are a lie? Human evolved from evolution's a lie? And gravity? Why the fuck was there an anvil sitting in a tree to kill Newton? Who replaced an apple with the fucking... What? That might be Ken Ham's grandma. Surus, earbud warnings are for the weak. Oh, I didn't yell it. Hold on. Earbud warnings are for the weak! But yeah, I've heard about people saying that the dinosaurs are lies. I've never heard somebody say it like genuinely. So I don't know. Ah, damn, this cough. Okay. I like this one too. Fire requires oxygen. Let that sink in. Well, for one thing, it's not like the moon isn't just a ball of fire, or not moon. What the fuck am I saying? The sun isn't just a ball of fire. I mean, it's plasma. Like, also it's mainly filled with like hydrogen, and so it's constantly burning through a lot of hydrogen. It through fusion, not like combustion. So, fuckers. This shit is bananas. B-A-N-A fuck. All right, let's get to the actual video tonight. Go home, GE. You're drunk. Oh wait. Okay, not yet. I'm working on it, I guess. All right. So now, just to preface, this video I've cut out from a larger video, but it's still like 19 minutes long. So what I'm going to do is on certain parts, I am going to pause it, and then I'll explain what he's trying to explain. Yeah.
Question.
Casey has a question. Yes, Casey, what is your question?
Is Claus or evil?
That is Santa Claus, because he was talking about believing in Santa Claus being tantamount to believing the earth is round.
Not E.T.
Not E.T. phone. Okay, let's get on to it.
About this on that magical deception show of science.
What do you think makes the Earth go around the sun?
Oh, me. I know this one. Indoctrination. Freemasons. The absolute horror of a unique position. The hopes and dreams of men.
I like how he rattles off all of these basic conspiracy theory things like Freemasons and, the fear of a unique position. Like, if anything, scientists love a unique position because it's something new. And, they can either disprove it or they can, accept it, as not being proven wrong. And incorporate that into their new worldview. I would think that scientifically minded people would be totally up for that, but apparently we're scared of a unique position. Chrismer says the sun is gas, so God farted? He definitely did. That is a big giant gas ball that came out of his anus. You know how at the beginning of the universe, God, he goat said, and that's how light entered the universe. He held his ass open, and then it took 4 days for the sun to like maneuver out of his intestine and out of his goat say ass. So, I mean, go ahead and work that into your new theology.
What makes the Earth and all the other planets round like a ball?
Oh, that one's easy. That's easy. Telescopes, fisheye lenses, composite images. Robert Simon. CGI, artists, computer software.
I like how he's not even trying to consider the scientific position on any of these things. I love how he's not even considering them. And how exactly do telescopes make something like spherical? Like, I mean, how in the fuck do telescopes, like, I get how fisheye lenses bend the image so that it can fit more of the view into the image, but like, how do telescopes do that? I don't understand.
I don't get it.
What?
They're
Casey doesn't get their fucking outfits. This is Bill and I's kids show from like the 90s. They always do wacky, crazy things, and it's to keep the attention of little kids, because the little kids are like, ah, ha, ha, look at that guy with the tie on. That guy looks like a pirate. Where's SpongeBob?
What makes things fall?
I think I know this one. Wind, wet floors, density, momentum, banana peels.
Well,
What? Like, I get banana peels and I guess the wet floor, but what do the other things have to do with falling? I mean, you didn't actually answer the question. I mean, what like, this is a very much a prime component of flat earthers, is that they got to deny gravity, but they don't have a comparable thing to replace gravity with. Like, there's nothing to actually explain why things fall down. And I would love for him to actually answer that.
You can try, but you can't deny the force you see is gravity.
If you haven't yet noticed, as children, all of us had no chance. I mean, no chance from the get-go, being told, you can try, but you cannot deny that the answer to all your questions, children, is gravity.
I like how he says that we can't escape it. Obviously we could, because you fucking did. Now, schools teaching basic science is not indoctrination like these people, along with some other people on the internet, think. It's not indoctrination. Teaching people facts that are verifiable through actual real-world experiments that you can do on your own. I remember when Xander was like 6 months old, and he would drop things just to experiment with his surroundings, and he figured out shit fell down. He didn't know that, gravity was the reason exactly, but he knew shit fell down for some odd reason. And, when he got older, he was able to understand what gravity is. Just because you want to throw away gravity just so that you can have your flat, fantastical fucking Earth doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
The weakest force that there is, yet it holds oceans to the spinning Earth, holds the Earth in its orbit around the sun and the moon in its orbit around the Earth.
Yes, gravity does a lot of things. Gravity, when given enough mass in order to, hold things to a certain object, I mean, it does a lot of things. Gravity allows us to orbit the sun. Gravity holds everything onto the Earth. Gravity has a lot of effect. And I would love for you to present an alternate theory as to why things are attracted to one another in that way. I would love to know.
But it has little to no effect on subatomic particles. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Absolutely. Maybe we need a little help from Bill Nye's special cadets. Please help us explain gravity, because I'm struggling here.
you see, gravity works on everything. It's always pulling. It's a big gravitational party.
This is good for about a minute. Watch this. Look what I've done. Taken an ordinary sock, rolled it up into a ball. One sock, not two, one. Taken a piece of string, wrapped it around the sock, stuck it through this toilet paper roll, tied the string onto a plastic bag with an apple in it. Watch what happens. See the apple? That's like the sun. And the sock is like Earth. The string is kind of like the sun's gravity, holding the Earth in orbit.
Oh, yeah, I get you. The string, it's just like the imaginary force that does everything we need it to do, holds the Earth in orbit. Okay, makes sense.
Well, I mean, that's a really, yeah, Peachy in the comments was saying, salt, John, it's salt! If you guys don't know, David Avocado Wolf thinks salt is what actually holds you to the Earth, not gravity. Work through that on your own. I don't know what to tell David, but I mean, he's fucking nuts. And he's a young Earth creationist now. What's going on? Okay, I thought there might have been something going on wrong. But that is actually a really good basic experiment that you could do with your kids to sort of demonstrate like how the Earth orbits around the sun. It's not very good at explaining exactly why, because you're conflating that centrifugal force or whatnot with gravity. But you see, with an orbit, basically, you get into an equilibrium state of you're falling towards it, like in an orbit, you're falling towards the object, but you always miss the object and go a little bit farther out, and then you're pulled back in by gravity. And then it's a constant process. That's why our orbits aren't exact circles; they're ellipses. That's why it's like that. Nightmare Johnny. Kid, why does the Earth spin? Man, it doesn't. Kid, why is it flat? Man, because it does. Shut up! That's pretty much what they say.
All kinds of sense, except for why the toilet paper roll? Why was the apple in a bag? Why the sock? Totally confused.
Okay, so... Sorry. So, basically, why the toilet paper roll? Because you had to have something to hold on to sling it around your head. Why the apple in the bag? Well, the apple in the bag is just pretty much to hold it to the rope. And why the sock? I'm guessing the sock represents the atmosphere or something, maybe? I mean, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it's just in case the apple, like unties from it, falls off, and hits Sarah in the face. I mean, I don't have a problem with it hitting Sarah in the face.
Anyway, let's go to Universe Sandbox. It's a little game where I can pull up a simulation currently of the Earth, so I'm setting it at 1 second equals 1 second so we can see exactly what gravity's doing this moment. Because it might make sense to kind of whip this string around a circle and you can kind of see, okay, well, it's held in this gravity, kind of like the string, I don't know. But let's look at it live. Oops, did I forget to hit start? Nope. That's what you have to believe is going on right now. The huge rock ball Earth. Think of how much the Earth would weigh. Picture that huge floating rock, and it's just sitting in space, sitting in a vacuum. It's just sitting there. Whee! Look at how fast we're going.
Okay, so basically in this one shot right here, you have a lot of distance in this shot. It's not exactly like you're going to be able to see it moving right there. I mean, it's tantamount to, having somebody really far away start moving really slowly. Like it's literally like that. You're not going to see that kind of movement on this scale. If you were to zoom into like the ocean, you would be able to see it move. But because of how fast it's moving and the vast distance that it has to move over, you wouldn't see it moving right now. And he can do what he wants to with it. I mean, he can laugh at it, he can scoff at it. But, I mean, that still doesn't make it not true. He's still not providing a counter thing to explain our planet. Like, he's not doing anything at this point other than just looking at this and laughing and being like, it's absurd to think it. Oh, okay, well, explain to me why it's absurd to think it.
Of course, if you're using mathematics, we're going over 1,000,000 miles per hour. But of course, if we just take a little spacecraft and look back at the Earth, this is what's going on. Absolutely nothing. The floating and gravitational attraction of all the planets as they spiral throughout endless space around the sun. Now, of course, this isn't to scale, because if it were, it'd have to show the sun being 1.3 million times bigger than the Earth.
Okay, so yeah, the spinning thing going through the universe, that's not up to scale or whatnot, like he said. So, I mean, you wouldn't be able to see the movement of the planets, like if that were actually drawn to scale. So I don't even know why he put that in there. I mean, it only seems to hurt his actual argument here. Godless Iowan, Mrs. Snarky, the universe is flat! Fight me! Prince Thunderflare. I love how he needs to watch a children's show and is still completely lost.
Now, let's think about something. I'm not sure about you, but have you ever flown 2,500 miles, say from California to New York, or some like distance? That trip takes 7 hours in a jet going 550 miles per hour, and all you did was go across the United States. Now go outside and look at the sun and remind yourself that you believe, because someone told you, that the sun is 1.3 million times bigger than the Earth. Why? Where's the evidence? Nope, there's none. It's just because someone told you.
Well, no, I mean, we have ways of knowing. We can, we can look out from our planet at other planets and we can detect a lot of things about them. One thing that we can detect is how actually big that they are. We can measure how big it is on an interstellar scale. And so it's not just because somebody tells us. There are actual ways to know how big it is and how far away it is.
That's it. Can we triangulate the
What? Yep.
distance of it? Well, if you do, you're going to come out to the same distance that the moon is. They're the same angular size, and therefore, you go ahead and triangulate it all you want. You're going to come out to the same distance. And that's only if you add in the curvature of the Earth.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know about the whole having to add in the curvature of the Earth or whatnot, but we live in a very special time right now because the moon is just about the same size as the sun in the sky, but it's because of how far away the moon is from the Earth and how far the sun is away from us. They're distances apart that are easily multipliable. So I think, yeah, it's all about perspective. And so here in like a couple thousand years, we won't be able to have any full coronas on a solar eclipse. But I mean, before that, when the moon was closer to the Earth, we would have before, when the moon was closer to the Earth, the moon would completely cover up the sun on those instances. So, it hasn't always been the size that it is. It's only because of the current position of the moon in orbit around us that it is that distance, or they are like the same size in the sky, basically.
You can believe what you want. Anyway, take note, however, that I have never said that I know exactly how all this works. I've never said that I know exactly how it all operates. I do not. But when it comes to the sun on a flat motionless plane, as I described on Globusters this Sunday, here's how I see it working.
Okay, so he does not know how it could work otherwise. He just knows that the current model is not how it works. So keep that in mind when we go into this whole explanation that we're about to go through here. He doesn't have any idea how it actually works, but he knows enough to say that their current model is wrong. So you would have to know, at least something. Maybe not a complete explanation, but you would have to know something, but he knows nothing. What?
First thing, to understand the idea of the atmospheric dome. I'm not saying that there is a glass dome. I'm not saying anything about an actual physical dome. But here's what I am saying. So let's see how far we can agree before you guys jump off track. So let's see. So far we agree. We are existing. We live here somewhere. I'm assuming we're on the same page. We can see in a circle around us for about 3 miles in radius. If it's very clear, perhaps more. Looking at something very large, a building or maybe a large boat, we can see further. But generally speaking, a 6-foot man can see about 3 miles from his position. If we get up higher, we can see further.
Okay, so I mean, I didn't fact check like how far we can see or whatnot, but let's just go ahead and give them that we can see that far. And then this would also have to be like on a perfect spherical thing, because you know, as you get higher in elevation, you're going to be able to see farther. So let's just say, for the sake of things, this is supposed to be a perfectly perfect sphere or a perfectly flat plane. That's what we're working on here. Way to like actually to pigeonhole us basically into this one type of thinking in order to make your point. Like way to set up the circumstances so that you can't be wrong or whatever. I could use some water, yeah. Chrismer, how dare he assume we exist? Existophobe.
Our view circle enlarges. I think everyone would be on the same page so far, right? Let's move on. All right, let's look at this observer here and realize that the air in front of us...
Okay, so somebody's a little confused about pigeonholing. Pigeonholing is where, let's say you have like 12 holes that you're going to put pigeons in. And you have 13 pigeons. You can be 100% certain... Fuck me. My camera went off. Because, you know, fucking reasons. I know they can still hear me. All right, back. Okay. So, you can be 100% certain that one hole is going to have 2 pigeons in it. And that's basically what I meant by pigeonholing, is that he's setting up the situation so that he can't be wrong. And, I think it's pretty funny that he actually does be wrong, like he is wrong.
Can be a lot like a pane of glass. Then if you added a second pane of glass or a third pane, a fourth pane, eventually it would become harder to see because you have more of this glass. It's just going to add up, just like our atmosphere adds up in front of our eyes.
I would like to say that glass is much thicker than atmosphere. Especially when you get on up into the higher like atmosphere, it's a lot thinner. And I mean, the reason why we see like a blue sky or whatever is because of Rayleigh scattering in the atmosphere. Rayleigh scattering in the atmosphere scatters the blue, the blue light from the sunlight and causes our sky to be blue. That's why at night we can see stars and shit. But he's basically saying that the atmosphere is as thick as glass. Like the density of the atoms in the atmosphere is as dense as glass.
So one could say that seeing further through the air might be more difficult. If we add panes of glass, things get progressively more difficult to see. Notice.
I would also like to say that if you actually had like the thick, like if you had glass end to end to each other, and it, you know, whatever thickness or whatever, I mean, it would, using his reasoning, like the glass would have to be so thick that you would not be able to see that far in front of you if this was the case.
The red dot here on the back of the 15 panes of glass is more difficult to see than the same red dot at the front. If our observer stands and takes a look at his surroundings, we know we can see in a 360-degree circle around us, and our view is the radius of that circle. Now, where would the most atmosphere or panes of glass be to our observer? Well, it's at the ground level, the thickest portion of our atmosphere. As we go up, our atmosphere thins out. So here we have the most atmosphere at the Earth level. So knowing where the most is and where the least is, we can come to the conclusion or the realization that we see in a dome-like viewpoint. Since the second most heavy portion of the atmosphere is when we start to look up just a little bit, well, progressively from there we see less and less atmosphere and distortion. This is a dome shape. No, I'm not saying there's a glass dome of any kind. We see through the atmosphere in a dome-like shape from the observer's point of view.
Okay, so every single person within a 3-mile radius of them has their own personal dome-like structure that they observe reality through. Do you really have to special plead this shit so much that you get ridiculous? Like, this is fucking ridiculous.
And every single person on Earth each has their own dome view of the sky above. Let's look at an example. So let's say these two people have a cloud over their heads. Let's say that that cloud is 10,000 feet. It's above each of their heads. Each observer would see the other cloud almost at the horizon. As it went off into the distance, that cloud, even though it's 10,000 feet above his buddy, would be down at the horizon line. They would see something like this.
So basically in this part, he's talking about how clouds appear from one observer to another. And then he's going to try to take us through how it would, quote unquote, actually work on a globe Earth. And, but I just have to say real quick that, you know, saying that your position is automatically correct from the beginning and saying, oh, hey, look, here are all these perfectly normal pictures. This is what, oh, excuse me. This is what you would see, like, in my model is exactly what you see now. And the other model is, you would actually see something different. Like, I think that it's quite disingenuous to automatically assume that your model is correct. You need to first prove your model correct before you can say, see, that's why this picture looks like this. The Godless Iowan, it's ridiculous unless you're stupid. Good point, Godless Iowan. I'll have to keep that in mind.
And of course, the guy looking back would see almost the exact same thing, something like this. And so even though both observers have the cloud 10,000 feet above their heads, they can see the cloud above the other guy at the horizon. It is it.
Well, I mean, I still don't understand, like, how that works exactly. Like, if I see a guy however many miles away over there, which, I mean, just guesstimating, I mean, it looks like there's about, what, 5 maybe of those 3-mile radius, so 30 miles between them. Like, those pictures that he showed had way more than 30 miles, like, in it. Before you see the cloud starting to go into the horizon line. So I don't even know what he's trying to play at here.
At times indistinguishable from the horizon. They would both see the clouds sloping down in the distance. So if that cloud traveled towards the other guy, the cloud would slope down and get smaller the closer it got to the horizon. Here's a good example of that. You know, that reminds me of another easy observation that should tell you where you live. Real quick timeout. Take a look at this photo. We've all seen clouds like this, right? Well, now take note.
So hymnalysis, thick clouds and a thick skull this guy has. He definitely has a pretty thick skull. Okay, so now he's explaining how light is scattering across the sky and like where the bottoms of the clouds are. And then he's going to throw us for a loop.
This of the dark underside of the clouds. Well, the shaded areas of the clouds, if you lived on a globe, wouldn't it show like this? But we never ever see that.
Okay, so I have to be quite honest here. I had no fucking clue what the fuck he was trying to point out here. Okay, it bothered me because I knew I was going to have to do this video and I was trying to figure out what he was telling me and it just escaped me until today when I saw, hold on, when I remembered this meme. I remembered this meme and then I thought, oh yeah, this guy thinks that like, you're fucking tall enough to see the clouds literally turn on their sides and go around the earth. Like, he thinks that you're tall enough that the clouds should literally start turning towards the earth in order to curve with the curvature of the earth. and that you should effectively at some point be able to see just completely the flat side of the bottom of it. And I mean, that's just fucking ridiculous. It's okay. He doesn't know what he's saying. Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, just it took me forever to figure this one out, but I finally did it, guys. Solved the puzzle. Just call me Sherlock Hick Holmes.
Clearly, the clouds are telling us something. As we can see here, the larger amounts of the shadowed part of the cloud that we can see is closest to us, and as they go away from us, we see less and less of the bottom.
Timothy Cantor says whiskey is God!
Whereas if you were on a globe, you should see more and more of the bottom. I'll let you decide why we don't see what we should if we lived on a ball Earth.
Okay, so basically, Jeranism, I would say that you have a completely wrong idea of how clouds in the atmosphere on a globe Earth would actually work. They would disappear into the horizon. They would disappear all the way out there. You would not see them turn like toward like 90 degrees so that you could see the very bottoms of it. That's not how anything works. But of course, you're coming from the presupposition that the Earth is flat and that this right here is a picture of a flat Earth. And that's why we see things the way that we do.
Now that we understand exactly what the clouds are doing as they go away from us, we can start to understand this idea of the atmospheric dome. That as the cloud goes off in the distance, it is setting in our atmospheric dome. It is not getting closer to the horizon. We know that, but everything we see happens in our personal little dome. Now we can see the sun. As the sun goes away from us, now we understand why the sun sets on a flat Earth.
What the fuck is he even trying to show us right now? I mean, he drew two suns and like it moves over there. Like, I mean, these guys are not that far apart. I don't even know what he's trying to play here because you got, there's 6 miles in diameter each circle, and that looks like, that looks even shorter than the last fucking drawing he had. So, I mean, it's like 30 miles between the two. It's not gonna, like, in 30 miles that way, it is not, like, still daylight for me, or for whoever the fuck's over there. Like, it would be a vast difference in distance. He should, It is. He should have a disclaimer that says, not drawn to scale.
And also, as the sun's away from the other observer, why it rises on a flat Earth. It is simply the sun eclipsing the atmospheric layer or the cloud layer at the horizon off in the distance.
Okay, so basically he's saying that when the sun is at noon over here it's actually morning? Like, to this person? But, I mean, like, with the distance that he's got drawn here, I mean, it, like, I don't know, that far away wouldn't be, like, it wouldn't be morning. There's just not enough distance here in order for this to make sense. I mean, if he wants to say that they're vast distances apart, then, I mean, maybe that would work, but, I mean, maybe he should draw it to scale. Maybe he shouldn't have laid out that the circle's 6 miles in diameter, therefore making this entire drawing bullshit.
And it, much like the cloud, never changed their height in the sky in comparison to you. It's just the way we observe it. Okay. So everything that happens above us displays for us in our own personal atmospheric dome.
You know what this reminds me of? You know, in Destiny 2, that like shield that you can throw down? Yeah. I think it's a fucking shield. It's like a shield that protects you from, like, scientific information. No scientific information can enter my shield. He's got a bubble around him, and it's protecting him from all the science that's going to touch him in the naughty places. And, I mean, look at this shit. He's got planes, and I don't even know what the fuck this, like, this chicken pox looking shit is right here. but he's got blue clouds. He's got the moon next to the sun, and then all of this other shit. And it's like, wow. Oh, and then the stars are apparently above the sun. The sun is within our own atmosphere, while the stars are outside our atmosphere. Prince Thunderflare, scale is just another tool of the devil!
The sun, the moon, and that's why we don't have the exact positions for either one.
Also, are the purple things lightning? And what if the gray thing is a hot air balloon, what's the other motherfucking thing? Amazon Prime at your door? No. The blue thing. The blue looks like it's carrying a package. I feel like it's Amazon Prime's new shipping method.
Because they're rendered to each of us separately. Rather, the only time that you could really get the measurement of the distance of the sun would be on the equator on the equinox. The same goes for Polaris, where you can only get its distance from the North Pole. And both the distance to Polaris and the distance to the sun on the equinox from the equator come out to the same number. That number is the radius of the Earth.
Chrismer says, What is even? Okay, so wait a second. Now the sun is within the person's own personal dome, along with the stars and a miniature plane. Yeah, the plane that's smaller than the person. I don't know how the plane is smaller than the person. The person looks like Jiminy Cricket blown up to gigantic proportions. KC said that if that person was Kim Kardashian, her ass would be bigger than the sun. I have to agree.
And you can't be fooled, huh? So the ISS, hot air balloons, helium weather balloons, planes, lightning, all of it, stars too, are included in your atmospheric dome.
In your own personal atmospheric dome. Everybody has a dome that protects them from all the science that's gonna hurt them. Explicit Glory says, Flat Earth fuckery! It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I think his brain is flat. Is that enough synintism for scientism. Sorry. I'm fucking stupid.
Now, if a plane flies over your head in Boston, someone in Florida can't see it. It's too far. Same goes for Polaris from further than the equator.
Oh, what the fuck
Here we've got
this?
another drawing. It's labeled a few places. We'll look at label letter A. That's the observer showing his radius.
Okay, wait a second. You gotta stay fucking consistent with these goddamn diagrams, Jeranism. Okay, I'm sorry. I hate to be pedantic like this, but first off, now you've got Jiminy Cricket sunk down to a reasonable size, but I mean, it's still like this. The circle's still 3 miles. And your other Jiminy Cricket over there was like fucking way bigger than he is now. I don't know what the fuck you got these lines going everywhere for, but I guess you're going to explain.
It's a view circle. Letter B is the supposed curve of the Earth.
Okay.
C is the actual flat plane of the Earth. D is the apparent concavity of the Earth, and that...
Okay, well, hold on. So... Wait, did he just say the concavity of the Earth? He said the concavity. I don't know where he gets fucking concave. Yeah, the stupid's hurting my brain too. Okay, so B is the curvature of the Earth. In 3 miles, you do not see that much of a curve. I'm sorry, you don't. You don't see that much of a curve. I'm guessing... I'm guessing he uses the old surveyor thing of like however much for every square mile or whatnot. I think it's 8 inches per square mile. What? C is the flat actual Earth, if you notice he said that. D is the apparent concavity of the Earth. Now that's interesting because I don't know why he thinks it's concave. Now, unless he's talking about mirages, which, like, if you're driving down a long stretch of highway and you see, like, through the pavement, and you see like the either water or the sky, just more of the sky. Like when we've been on road trips for the past month or so, I've noticed that it looks like you're seeing actually more of the sky than like you'll have the ground and then there's sky and then there's road, and it's just an optical illusion. I think that's what he's talking about D being.
That's when we see the water rising to eye level. E is the apparent path of the clouds. F is the true cloud level. G is the apparent path of the sun. And H is the actual sun path. The next image that you see, it gives you an idea of what many of these atmospheric domes would look like together.
Okay, so keep in mind, people, each of the atmospheric domes are 3 miles in radius and 6 miles in diameter. So on this, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, for those of you that are like Jeranism and you don't know how to do any kind of fucking math or science, 6 times 8 is 48. So basically, he has a width of 48 miles. Apparently, within 48 miles at noon, if it were noon here for me, then 48 miles in any one direction, it would be goddamn morning. Please let that sink in to know how false this is.
Operating at once. When one guy has noon, well, another guy has 1 o'clock, another guy has 2 o'clock, and so on and so forth around the flat plane. We will look at this in an optic simulation in a moment. I also wanted to bring up another fun flat fact. During a solar eclipse, when the moon crosses the sun, there is an immediate 10-degree Fahrenheit drop in temperature. Well, during sunsets, when the Earth blocks the sun, we don't receive a 10-degree drop in temperature. And why is that? It's exactly the same thing. The sunlight is being blocked by a big body.
Okay, so to explain what he doesn't understand, which you can solve with just a little bit of Google, basically the degree difference between, like, okay, so let me start at the beginning. There is a degree drop when the moon moves in front of the sun and we have that full corona. What? Yes, a temperature drop. There's about a 10-degree temperature drop. And that's because of the fact that the moon is blocking the sun in that particular area, and it's not able to give, heat to that area. So this is tantamount to the difference between midday and like sundown, right? Not all the time, of course, and it's not exactly 10. But the difference is that at sundown, you've already had the sun going down and the rays, the point at which they hit and the angle at which the sunlight rays, they hit the earth, is providing less and less heat and energy to the surface. So the temperature goes down, down, and down. And so once the sun actually sets, there's not that big of a degree drop, because it's been decreasing since midday. Not midday exactly. I mean, I think 3 p.m. or so where I am is when it's the hottest. But I think that, they just say midday because in general, that's when the sun is highest in the sky or whatever. But all I'm saying is that there's a gradual decline in temperature with the sunset, whereas with the solar eclipse, it's an immediate thing. Like, it happens immediately.
In this case, it's the Earth. Yeah, we don't see any such drop. Just more ammo for you flat earthers. Very well. Another effect of the atmospheric layer, or blocking, or dome, whatever you want to call it, can be seen when we look at things across water in the distance. Think about it. When you're looking across the water, that's the most atmospheric blockage. As you're looking across, you're going to get some distortion. If you try to look across at a lighthouse...
I love his kindergarten level drawings. Don't you guys? I'm not the best drawer in the world, but I also don't try to draw in my fucking videos.
It's going to look very broken up to you. It might even look like there's water in front of it. There's a lot of things going on there. But simply by going up higher, you're now above that atmospheric layer where there's less atmosphere, and you can actually look over the water and see the complete lighthouse. Now, if you're Wolfie, who could never be fooled, this is simply the curvature of the Earth, and when you're down at the ground, the lighthouse is behind the hump of water. And that makes a lot of sense, simply because you were taught it. I guess that's what we're supposed to do.
Well, no, we have scientific principles behind it to explain it. It's not just because somebody told us. Like in this particular example here, you would be able to see how the image is mirrored. And so I don't understand why you have to shit on it like that. Like I don't understand why you have to be like, oh, well, just because you were told it, that makes it true. No, we have several scientific facts and theories that back up what we see.
Simply believe and trust men and never question things for ourselves. All right, now we're going to head over to a website. You can follow me if you want. It's at ricktu288.github.io/ray-optics/ and this is so you understand way.
Okay, so basically this is going to be a lens simulator. You can go there if you want to. Do it at your own risk. It's going to be like a program that you have to install or use at your own risk. So the Godless Engineered channel, me, Casey, we do not suggest anybody go there, download this kind of software or anything like that. I haven't tried it, but I mean, yeah, just do it at your own risk.
So here I put a blocker on the ground level just to make the kind of the ground. It is the brown bar there. Also, don't mind the bottom of the screen. You'll see that I've already set up for the multiple dome idea. So let me delete a couple things here. And now I'll add that point source of light, and then I'll add the extended rays so that I can get the sun's reflection. And now you can see this orange point here. That is actually the sun that we all see.
Okay, so basically, I would like you to note how high the sun is above that dome right there. It's very important because the farther that the dome gets out, the closer that his quote-unquote sun gets to the earth. Okay, so keep that in mind, all right? Now, basically what he's saying is that there's a sort of lensing effect that this atmospheric dome has. That would make... that would cause... like that would mean that our atmosphere is like as thick as like glass or a lens or something like that, or that the atmosphere as it is now, with as thin as it gets, has different scattering and refracting properties than things on the ground.
So you can see as the sun moves across the sky, we can see the sun rise, we can see sunset, we can see noon.
Oh, okay. So Zero says that the link doesn't require you to actually download anything. I thought that it did, considering his little output right here. But apparently, he's still not sure if there's anything malicious about it. There probably isn't. I'm just saying that, you need to be cautious when using things that flat earthers suggest that you use. Notice right here on his model, though, that as the sun gets farther away from it, the focal point, or where the lines converge, get closer to the earth. Last time I checked, I don't think that the sun actually gets bigger in the sky when it starts to go down, like the sunset. But in this one, it would require like the actual angular size of the sun to change as it goes across the sky.
And we can even see twilight, dawn, and dusk. So this is what I believe the sun is doing. You can see here as it sets, you get that late after sunset glow.
Yeah, but you would still have like some semblance of light the entire time. If you notice, there's light on this entire half. Now, this right here is supposed to be a 6-mile area, right? That entire bottom brown part that he put is supposed to be a 6-mile in diameter area. So that means that, like, what is that? Like, through 1 mile, maybe 1 mile of it is gonna have light at all times.
Just like when it rises, you'll get the same thing over here. You'll get that morning amber. So this is what I think is going on with the sun. And at the bottom, we'll go to there momentarily and we'll see how it works for multiple people. So I will mention again, I'm not saying that there's an actual physical dome. That's not what I'm saying. We're talking atmospheric effects here.
So yeah, now he's going to go into this whole explanation of how it's atmospheric effects, how apparently light actually scatters differently in the atmosphere than we know it to scatter. And remember, from the very beginning of the video, he has no evidence to suggest that it works this way. He has no idea why it would work this way. All he's doing is pulling things out of his ass and saying, hey, this is how it works, even though I have no fucking clue as to how it works.
And here we see a sun setting.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, the sun's going to set. Now, in case you guys don't notice, the sun hasn't actually gained a whole lot of like area. Like the sun is still relatively the same shape, if not the exact same shape as it descends below the horizon. So my question is that, for one thing, why isn't the entire sky orange? Because that's what we saw on your model. If you don't remember, hold on. If you don't remember back over here, when you had it going this way, why isn't the entire sky orange and like it fades up into orange? Sorry. And you see, like, why doesn't it fade up into orange, like, above our heads instead of, like, right there in front of it? So, there's that. And then, yeah, and then he wants you to do Patreon and PayPal and everything like that. And then, okay, so I wanted to get to this part right here.
Settings and everything. That is David from Wide Awake. So the link to his channel will be in the description. Please sub him. Please check out. He's got thousands of observations that you should see. Also got more to call out, but let's watch here. I forgot to do the...
Okay. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but he has that sun pretty fucking far away from the domes down there. Now remember, each dome is supposedly 6 miles in diameter. Now, the sun is almost flush with the ground, and even in some cases is inside the earth for some of these other fucks over there. So I don't know what he's thinking this proves, but it only has more questions. Like, it only opens up more questions than it actually answers. So yeah, I don't know. I would love to know what you guys think. The people that are watching this live have been commenting with what they think, and I'll be going through some of their comments here in a minute. But I mean, this right here is just so fucking ridiculous. It doesn't match anything that we see, but yet he says that the current model does not make sense, but this does? This doesn't make sense. How does this at all make sense? This is not anything that we view in reality. I'm really disappointed. My first jump in with Jeranism, and he's fucking bringing out all this bullshit stuff that makes him feel smart, but doesn't actually prove anything. I'm 2 of 10 impressed. Right now I'm rating you a 2 of 10 on the flat earther scale. Because this is just, because to get high on the flat earther scale, you either got to be super fucking crazy or you got to have good explanations for your shit, which that one hasn't happened. It's always been super fucking crazy. Jeranism always bullshits. Of course he always bullshits. Why wouldn't he? All right. So that's pretty much it for the video. He had another little thing kind of at the end, but I mean, it doesn't really help his case at all. But, you know, we do still have a couple of comments to go through and maybe a couple more memes. So if you're going to go ahead and leave, I appreciate you coming by and hanging out with us tonight. And I hope to catch you next week when we do some more Flat Earth shit. All right. Bible says it's flat. United Nations flag, or United Nation flag, gives you a pick Earth, truths in plain sight, plane as in like an aeroplane, like woo, aeroplane. Explicit glory, Earth is flat, but the sun and moon are round. YOLO! We have all this technology, but we can't get past the Van Allen belt. Space station is a weapon that's being completed. What? God rod. There's only one God rod here, I'm telling you. Oh, fuck. It orbits our inner atmosphere. Tesla, car, I'm space is fake. Sig, wake up, sheeple. Wake up, sheeple. Antarctic treaty. Okay. I have no fucking clue what he's trying to tell me. The space station's a weapon? That's the first time I've ever heard of that. Yeah, we could get past the Van Allen radiation belt. I mean, we did in the 60s and the 70s in order to land on the moon. Prince Thunderflare, welcome to Jeranism's flat plane of insanity, GE. I'm going to look more into Jeranism. I'm going to find some of his other videos. I'm going to take a look at them and see if I can find anything that's good to review. But yeah, I have no idea what this guy's about. I don't know why he's talking about his God rod. He does not make any sense. All right, so let's see. That's the only other comment that I had. Here's one thing that I wanted to say. This is fucking dedication. And I love how he's also got woke tattooed on his fingers. But the fucking dedication of having flat and then a flat earth map of some kind. I mean, what are these fucking continents here? I mean, it looks like you might have Australia and then God just splooged on the rest of the map. I have no fucking idea what this is. Maybe he got it in prison? I don't know. But I don't see how anybody would be in prison like, oh yeah, fucking flat earth. And then we'll end the actual memes and everything on this one, which is a perfect example of why it's ridiculous. When the teachings of men conflict with the word of God, it would be wise to go with God. Henry M. Morris, PhD. You know it's a fact when a PhD person says it. PhD person says it. Fuck yeah, gotta believe that shit. So, basically, like a lot of flat earthers think this way, that you have to go with what the Bible says. So that's why I don't really just write people off as being trolls or whatever. It's just this stupid. All right. Well, I know, I believe KC might have something to do here in a minute. So I'm going to go through your comments real quick. If you have any questions and you want to talk to me about them, please leave them right now in the live chat or on the video if this is a replay. I would really appreciate it. I would love answering y'all's questions, so please ask me a few questions, if you will. Milwaukee Atheist is here a little late. Peachy Keen. So if I say the opposite, do I cancel that idiot out? I mean, I'm a PhD too. That's right. That's right, Peachy. Fuck yeah. Do you even use Git? Yeah, I've used Git before. I don't currently use Git for code repository stuff, but I have used it in the past. Milwaukee Atheist, I'm reserving that for a certain someone. Jim Shin, you're going to take on Jeranism in the future. Down that path lies madness and pain, GE. Good luck to you. Thank you. Hey, GE, do you ever watch the ISS orbit by? I haven't, but I'm always, like, I would really love to be able to catch it, but I know that it flies by really, really fast. So I don't know if I'll ever really have the time to sit out there and, like, I don't know, film it or something, but it'd be cool. Hey, at least Jeranism doesn't make the commandment, thou shalt forcibly suck on days nights. That's right, Christopher. I would love it if he would make that one of the commandments. That would be awesome. Team Skeptic, Godless Engineer, can you explain the gyroscope not rotating backwards? I'm about to do a video on it and would like to get your opinion. Why wouldn't it rotate backwards? I don't know. I don't know why it wouldn't rotate backwards. I guess I don't know the context to that. But I mean, a gyroscope wouldn't. I don't really know a lot about gyroscopes, but if I had to take a guess that the Earth just doesn't rotate backwards, I mean, I don't know. I know why gyroscopes like don't like tilt or anything like that. It's because if you had a high enough, like a sensitive enough gyroscope, you'd be able to tell. But you know, most of the time you don't. Cutthroat Juggalo says, Godless Engineer, make a sucking Jesus dick shirt. I don't know. I don't know how well that would sell. I got a heathen one that didn't really sell all that great, but I got a shirt, so I'll be wearing that soon. Can I be part of the atheist mafia? What's the initiation ritual? Yes, it's the Skeptic Mafia. Thank you very fucking much there, Milwaukee Atheists. So you better know its name. And second of all, we have to stand over you with bats labeled as fact and hit you, maybe. I think that's how, is that the current initiation? We got to beat them with facts?
No.
No? We don't beat them with facts?
No. How big are you?
What kind of engineer am I? Well, I have a master's in software engineering and a bachelor's in computer engineering. So I guess computer and software engineer would be the answer. Any others? Fuck, there's initiation for the Skeptic Mafia. You're already in, Peachy. Don't worry about it. Beat them with logic sticks. Yeah, we don't haze people that we like. If you're part of the Skeptic Mafia, where is your mafia issued suit? Well, I mean, I have a suit, but I mean, when you're as high a level in the mafia as I am, you could just fucking do these kind of things without pants on. And sleeveless shirts with, yeah, with hats like this. Blah, blah equals Illuminati engineer. Oh, man. Well, anyways, heathens, I really appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Let's see, does the Skeptic Mafia have benefits? Like, is there a health insurance thing? Yeah, there's health insurance. I mean, it's a decent plan. It's not the best plan, but you go to the doctor and it's not like they have to take your firstborn child. Let's put it that way. Allergies? Yes, I have pretty bad allergies this week. Anyways, heathens, I'm going to go ahead and go. Y'all have a lovely night. I hope that you guys will, see you on Monday. I hope I'll see you on Monday. And don't for, huh? Oh, yeah, KC has a stream on Matt Clark's channel in about 15 minutes. So I gotta go. I'm gonna support her. I'm gonna get in the chat and do the chatter thing. And I'll see you heathens later. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. And bye, heathens.